Hello everyone, it's Shel from Paper Rock TO Studio, and it is November 2nd and time for the second prompt for the hashtag November Art Journal Daily Art Journaling Every Day pages. The prompt for this one is Mermaid, and I'm still working in my Jelly Jumpstart journal, and I will put a link to the video where I made this journal. I think I have one up in the corner if you would like to make one. It's just basically making a journal with a bunch of jelly prints. And I made it last year before NaNoWriMo, which is a November daily type of a art journaling thing, which I can't find this year. So that's the reason we made up our own. If you go over to Instagram, you can search hashtag November Art Journal Daily, and you will find the list of prompts as well as it's at the beginning of every video. And you can join us. You can post your pictures on Instagram using that same hashtag, and it will go into our little hashtag folder thing where you can search. You can find myself, Peg, Lizzie, and Sherry's pages there, and the prompts and everything. It's all right there on Instagram. So if you don't have Instagram yet, just go ahead and sign up. I'm Paper Rock TO Studio on Instagram, so you can find me. You can find, where you can post your own pages following our prompts if you wish to. That would be very exciting for us, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. If you only want to do one of the prompts and post it and then skip a couple days and whatever, that's fine. If you want to make a video and join us, you can use that hashtag and we'll be able to find your video. That's what hashtags are for. They're for labeling stuff that goes together so that you can find it again. And you can even search the hashtag on Google and find all the stuff that is associated with it. Sometimes other stuff gets in there, who knows. But anyway, for today, the prompt was Mermaid. These are all just one-word prompts, do what you want, whatever. And I decided to make a steampunk mermaid. I don't know why. The page before this one on in the book is a steampunk page from last year, and I was flipping through, and I'm like, oh, I should make a steampunk mermaid. So I decided to do that. So I'm starting out on mixed media paper. This is a heavier weight paper than text, so it's a little bit more durable. But to say it's mixed media paper, I would say nonsense. I abuse my paper so much when I do mixed media that I think it's nonsense, but a lot of people like it. I just tend to beat it up way too much when I'm doing mixed media, so I tend to use the 140-pound watercolor paper instead, the cold press, because it's more durable. But this is the mixed media paper, and I'm doing my illustration on it. I just tore out a page from one of my mixed media journals thingies, and then I cut it down to size so that I would not make my mermaid too big to fit on the page, which has happened before, which is why I know how to do that. I go and make this great illustration for my page, and then it's like way too big. So I am using the Pentel Graph Gear 100 or 1000 mechanical pencil. This is a drafting pencil, and I put 2B soft graphite in it. This is what I like to draw with. It's soft enough that I can erase it. It doesn't make marks on my paper. And I like having a mechanical pencil so that I can just click, click, click. I don't have to sharpen. You know what I mean. I thought I was going to have to refill it, so I have the lead out, but I didn't end up putting it in there after all. So I'm making her tail all mechanical, and then also she's got some bracers on her arms and a clock on her hat and just a key on her necklace, just trying to make her look steampunkish, just for fun. I mean, in reality, if a mermaid was real and she really had metallic tail, she would sink, right? Unless it was magic. So it must be magic. She's magical. And then I'm making her a little friend, a crab. And I'm making him metallic, mechanical guy as well. So that she has a little friend on the bottom of the sea in the deep, dark depths. And I know it's going to be deep, dark depths because my page is very dark. This one that I'm starting with, which is up there. You can kind of see it, but the next thing I do after I've drawn everything is to go over it with my illustration pins. Excuse me. These are the Faber-Castell Artist Pit pins, and it comes in a package. They're all black in that package, and they have a lot of different tips. Why is that important? Because a more dynamic illustration has multiple line weights. So it goes from extra small, then there's a small, there's a medium, there's a 1.5, it just goes up. Then there's a brush one and a chisel one. So it gives you a lot of options to make your illustration more dynamic. Sorry, my throat's weird. Maybe it's better now. I don't know. So once I'm done drawing over the lines, and I just used the medium nib and the extra small for fine details this time. I didn't delve into, 6 different tips this time. It's a pretty small illustration, pretty small page. Most of my pages in this journal will be double spreads, but in this case there was a big split where I had sewn. It was one of the first journals I made, and I made too big of a space in between the sewing in the signatures, and so I really want to do these 2 pages separate because it looks weird to have this big half-inch split in between the page. So I'm going to do one page and then one theme, and then the other side will be a different one. So this is a single page this time. There are a few of those in the book, but it's because of my newbie sewing in of the journal. I didn't know what I was doing. It might have been the very first one I ever made. I'm not sure. But going over the lines using the same pins on my Little Mermaid girl. Same situation, same thing. And then erasing the excess graphite. Then now I want to color them in. And I'm going to use that silver metallic Posca as part of it. But I'm going to use my Faber-Castell brush pins. These pins are India ink. So they're permanent, and I like that. I don't have any of the alcohol markers. I don't own a single one. I might like those better for this type of an application. If you have Copics or one of the other alcohol markers, it might work better than this, but I'm doing that same type of a style of coloring by using different shades of the same color. In this case, I'm using 3 different grays and coloring in the highlight areas with the lighter color, and then the darkest areas with the darkest color, and then blending that together with the medium color, and then going over and adding highlights with the silver. And it works pretty well. The paper is, this paper, the mixed media paper, is absorbent, so perhaps, and especially in what I'm doing right now, which is these larger areas, I should have sealed the paper first, and then I could have blended better with these pins, because these pins on a sealed surface can be blended with your finger for a couple seconds before they dry. So you ask, why am I using these pins and not some other pins? Well, I know that I'm going to be cutting this out and decoupaging it onto my page, and I know that if I use a water-based marker, what's going to happen? You guys all know this. It's going to bleed and blend and mess everything up that I just did. So that's the reason that I'm using the Faber-Castell Pit brush markers, because they're permanent. They're India ink. They're permanent. These are the things that I struggle with in mixed media, and the things that I've learned over experience since I've been doing it is that what I really need is things that are not water soluble. So I'm looking for pens that are not water soluble. I'm looking for paints that aren't water soluble, like of course acrylic paints. I'm looking for sprays that aren't water soluble. Anytime that I'm using something that's water soluble, I have a problem, and I have to seal it first, or I have to take extra steps to make sure that the work that I did doesn't blend and bleed and smoosh all over my page. Because I do a lot of collage. I do a lot of, adding pieces and parts. So this is what I'm discovering, and this is a learning process for me. I am in no way a professional. I'm not. I've never been to art school, so I will not share anything with you except that the things that I learn, not the things that I knew from school or anything like that because I didn't go. So this is what I'm saying. Things that aren't water soluble. That's what I like. So that's the reason that I'm using these pens. The Posca pens are kind of an acrylic base. The Faber-Castell is the India ink base. And there's enough colors in this set that I can pretty much color this whole thing. Usually I like to do skin a little more detailed than this. I like to use more colors than are in this set, but I'm just going to do like a 2-color blend on the skin and call it good. It's a small illustration anyway, so I'm not going to fuss about that. I do end up adding some highlights at the end on the skin and the corset thing that she's wearing with some white because I decide that I need highlights. So I use the white Posca pen because it's opaque and add a few highlights with that. So I think I'm using the silver pen, the white pen from Posca, and then all the rest of the coloring is done with the Faber-Castell brush artist pens. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm explaining myself well. Who knows? I never know if I make sense or not. So the reason that I'm coloring, excuse me, the reason that I'm coloring her top, whatever it is, corset or what, I don't know what it is. Anyway, with purples is because my background is purples. So that's the reason that I picked that. Also, it's not my favorite color. So yeah, purples. Whether they're bluish purples or reddish purples, in this case they're reddish purples. Purple's the best color for me. I like it. I like it a lot. I even have purple hair. Just a streak, not the whole thing. I'm not that brave, I guess. So the things that are metallic on her, I'm using the grays again. Her little bracers on her arms, her choker around her neck, the edges of her goggles, things like that. All meant to be a metallic look, which I achieved by blending colors. Hopefully it looks metallic. I did my best. So once I'm done coloring her, then I'm going to fussy cut out the crab and the mermaid, and I'm not going to make you watch that. That would be torment. And then I need to start working on my background. Now, this print on the edge has some lighter colors, and you know, I don't like lighter colors on edges. I like darker colors on edges. You know this. You've seen me put borders on everything, lines around everything. So I'm using some dioxazine purple, which was the original print color, to fill in the edges, mostly with my finger, all the way around, just so that it looks more finished. I didn't like the white on the edges. Still trying to leave the pattern in the center though, not completely cover up my jelly print pattern, which is kind of industrial looking, which is what goes with the steampunk. And just to make sure that I don't, that I have blended edges and that I don't ruin my pattern, I went around in the inside and blended it with the baby wipe. Then I wanted to add a little bit of a blue color, teal color, since it's water. So I am using the liquid paint. This is Golden High Flow. You could also use DecoArt Fluid Media Line paint. I don't know what is wrong with my throat. And I'm just dripping that. I added a little bit of water and let it drip down the page. So that kind of gives it a seaweed look, and it adds that blue color that I wanted. Then I have to give that a really good dry. I decided I want some bubbles. I wanted the water to be very aerated, so I'm using my metallic Posca pens. I use the teal color and the metallic purple color, and if you just shake those really hard, the drips will come out the end. So that's what I did. Then I decided I wanted even more bubbles, so I end up using the titanium white from DecoArt, adding a little water to it, and then flicking with my fan brush, which is a great way to get small splatters, small splatters. Then I'm using some Mars Black Liquitex Basics paint, and adding a sea floor because I don't like it when things don't have a ground. That really bothers me. We've had this discussion about space and whether or not space should have a ground. If astronauts are floating in space, it's probably okay not to have a ground. But every other time I need a ground. Even though she's floating, the crab needs to be on the ground. So, yeah, added the black. So, normally when I decoupage, you see me use my favorite medium, which is Liquitex Matte Gel Medium. But there's metallic on this. There's the silver pins, metallic pin from Posca. There's the splatters in the background that have metallic purple and metallic teal. So if I used a matte medium, what would happen? Aha! It would dull the metallic. So instead I'm using the Liquitex Gloss Medium and Varnish, it's called, to apply. And then I'm also putting it all over the background because if I just put it to glue the little people down, it would look dumb. Then nothing else would be shiny, or it would be less shiny. So everything on this page is very shiny, which is giving me a glare that makes it hard to take pictures. But I didn't ruin the metallicness of it. The metallicness, that's a word. So then just to blend in my cutout pieces into the page, I'm using this dark purple from the same pin set, the India ink pin set. That's the Faber-Castell brush brush pins, whatever they are. And I'm just, now that this is a sealed surface, remember I put all that medium all over it. Now I can blend this very easily. It just glides and I can blend it with my finger. So that's what I did to make everything come together. Then I added a few bubbles, and I think that's about it. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any videos. There's one every day this month. Comment so that I know you were here. Share if you want to. All those things. Also, there'll be links below for you to go and check out my other friends' videos if you want to. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.